My name is Shannon Dinwiddie. I am a senior membership support service specialist here at ARA, and I have the pleasure of introducing Chuck Hollinger, who is with Biz Credit. Chuck's going to be hosting our Lunch and Learn today and sharing some great information. Like a lot of our rental store companies, Chuck has been in this business. His family has been in this business since the 50s and passed down through a couple generations here. And Chuck himself has been affiliated with Biz Credit and kind of running things since 1994. So at this time, Chuck.
Cody again.
At this time, Chuck, I'm going to go ahead and turn that over to you.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Shannon. Cool. Well, welcome to September's Lunch and Learn. We're going to focus on credit reporting and the Experian report options. And as we progress through the material, please consider that as your business grows, tools such as credit reports enhance productivity and decision-making. And these are important aspects of profitability. I'm going to move this over here. Just bear with me. Thank you. Today's outline. We'll begin by defining trade credit. We'll look at Experian's domestic, business, and the FCRA regulated report products, and then we'll add in a few related items as we go. Trade credit is defined as a type of commercial financing in which a customer is allowed to purchase goods or services and pay the supplier at a later agreed upon date. So effectively, trade credit is a short-term, unsecured, zero-interest finance agreement. Credit terms refer to when the payment is to be made, and predominantly net 30, or the full amount is due within 30 days. So how do you feel about the unsecured aspect of trade credit and also providing a zero-interest financing? It almost seems like all the risk is on your shoulders. So what do you need to make a confident credit granting decision? Well, credit reports exist to help you evaluate credit risk by showing how the applicant pays other vendors, along with additional information that may impact the applicant's ability to make future on-time payments. A quick couple of considerations for the credit application. Companies can be very complex. Most have an incorporated name, a DBA name, and multiple locations. And it's also possible to see a business report display the proprietor's name rather than the business name. And the business address can also be residential. So the more you know about your applicant, the further ahead you'll be in terms of risk management. It pays to know your customer's accounts payable process, and it's best to know in the beginning of the relationship. Oftentimes, a quick call to the accounts payable manager allows you to verify and validate the credit application and set up the account most effectively. The reason I wanted to include just a few of these details is to make the following suggestion. When you make a credit inquiry, I suggest using the DBA name and the physical address. And preferably, this is the pay from operating location of the business. So let's start by looking at the business summary report. And this is Experian's entry-level product. By entry-level, we're talking about a screening tool with a low price, which allows you to screen the most applicants at the lowest overall cost. So the business summary is intended for use on low exposure applicants, yet it's also true that screening all of your applicants may be a better approach versus inquiring on just a fraction of your higher credit limit applicants and using the full detail products. So in today's environment, the prime lending rate is above 8%. The COVID era stimulus is being removed from the money supply. Yes, the money supply is actually shrinking. At the same time, credit standards are tightening. I expect you'll see an increasing number of credit applications as trade credit financing becomes more important for your customers' cash flow management. The business summary report is a one-page product providing a payment classification along with yes or no indicator for derogatory information types and UCCs. In this example, you'll see a credit snapshot showing acceptable. Acceptable corresponds to vendor payments no more than 9 days late and no derogatory information. The business summary also shows how many vendors are reporting trade accounts into this credit file.
Good afternoon, everyone else.
The other possible credit snapshot classifications include acceptable, which we've seen, caution, credit active, caution, not credit active, and then warning and serious risk. Which brings up our first poll question. Using the business summary report, would you be confident making credit decisions up to $500, up to $1,000, or higher? And while we're tabulating that, I'd also like to add that direct checking. This is the traditional and time-consuming process where the creditor contacts 3 references in a bank. If you've attempted this, you know the pitfalls. Credit inquiries, however, take only minutes from start to finish and provide objective payment information and often include additional information types that you simply won't obtain by calling references. Well, that's great. In the literature for the business summary report, it's actually designed for decisions up to $1,000. And that looks like that's where the comfort level lies. Good. I'm going to close this and we'll move on. The IntelliScore Plus report. This is the most popular product that Experian provides, and it's due to the inclusion of a payment score, the credit file details, and of course, the concise format and the value price. So when making credit decisions, of course, you're deciding yes or no, and if yes, how much credit to extend. And you're also under pressure to decide quickly. If the applicant process takes too long, low-risk applicants might find a different vendor. Conversely, if the applicant is higher risk, but credit evaluations are not done, you might end up with a slow pay or a no pay account. At best, the expense of chasing late payments will limit profitability. At worst, non-payments, those are losses. So the reports themselves all begin with identifying information. The next section of the IntelliScore Plus are the scoring details. The IntelliScore Plus is a payment model predicting the likelihood of significant slow pay occurring 12 months into the future. Significant slow pay is defined as 5% or more of a vendor's balance reported in the 91 plus days past due aging column. The score range is 1 to 100, where 1 is high risk and 100 is low risk. In this example, the score suggests high risk. There are 5 risk categories represented by this colorful chart, and the score model is tuned so that the orange, which is medium high risk, carries half the risk of the red high risk category. The same holds true as the indicator, where's my cursor? As the indicator moves into the yellow and into the greens, with each category, risk becomes half. There are 4 key determining score factors, and this describes the conditions that most influence the score. And there's a lot more details to scoring, and I'm happy to share in-depth details about the scoring models with those who are interested. Feel free to contact me. So let's look at the next section, business information. The column on the left begins with DBT, and this represents days beyond terms. This is a weighted average indicating how the company pays. In this example, the applicant is paying on average only 6 days late. So you may be asking, then why is the score high risk? Well, let's look at the historical DBT values appearing just below. There's the monthly average DBT, the highest DBT in the previous 6 months, and the highest DBT in the previous 5 quarters. 1 year and 3 months ago, payments to vendors averaged only 3 days late. But then 6 months ago, payments to vendors worsened significantly to 35 days late on average. Since then, the payment trend has improved, and the score will also improve over time, assuming the company continues to pay well. In the column to the right, business legal filings and collections, we see that there are no bankruptcies, a tax lien that has been released, there's no judgments, but one recently reported collection account. UCCs are also shown, and there are a total of 3. This brings up our next poll question. Using the IntelliScore Plus, would you be confident making credit decisions up to 5,000, up to 10,000, or above? And while we're answering that, I'd like to add that the credit report service provides a menu of report options, allowing you to choose the product that balances credit exposure with the product's level of detail. And of course, this is on a case-by-case basis. So this enables quick and confident credit decisions with all types of applicants. Fantastic. That and the IntelliScore is actually a very high value and very useful product. And if you haven't seen them, I'm happy to show you live examples. So the next topic is days beyond terms. So we've seen the days beyond terms referenced in the business summary and contained in the IntelliScore Plus. But before moving on to the full detail reports, let's take a closer look at how the DBT is calculated. And here comes a little algebra. So what we're doing is we're taking the dollar amounts that are reported 1 to 30 days past due, and we're giving them a weight. And then we're adding to this the dollars reported 31 to 60 days past due, and we're giving them an increased weight, followed by the dollars 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and then 91 plus. And the more delinquent the dollars are, the more they count. So all of these values are added together and divided by the total dollars outstanding. The DBT gives us a single value representing the average numbers of days past due that the business pays. The DBT is useful by itself for trending analysis and also for comparison purposes. So let's move on to the business profile report. The business profile is considered full detail, as this format displays each piece of information in full detail, from vendor reported trade payment information to inquiries. The business profile begins with an executive summary. And so we're going to summarize the contents and provide some analytical information here. The column at right provides a summary of trade information. So there's various DBT timelines. Well, let's start over here on this side. Bankruptcies, tax liens, judgments, collection accounts, the dollar sum of tax liens and judgments and UCCs. On this side, we've got various DBT time frames, the number of continuous trade lines, and this is vendor reported information that has been updated within the past 3 months. So it's fresh and it has existed in the credit file for more than 3 months. So we put emphasis on the continuous trade lines. There's also the combined balance of continuous trades, combined balance of all trades, average balance in the previous 5 quarters, and highest single credit amount extended. There's also a 6-month balance range. So this gives great historical information and, overall, here's where we are today before we get into the contents of the report. The DBT chart shows an indicator showing the business pays on average 6 days late. Below this are monthly and quarterly DBT trends in chart form. And I find it very helpful to see over time what is the trend of their payment information. The last item on this page continues on the top of the next page. It's titled Legal Filings and Collections. I apologize about the page breaks. That's just what happens when PDF is used to capture HTML items. With collection accounts, you'll see the date that the account was placed, the status, the collection agency name, the original balance, the outstanding balance, and if the account's closed, the date will appear. Tax liens, these can be state or federal, and we'll show the date it was filed, the type, the status, the amount, filing number, and jurisdiction. And this brings us to the trade payment information. As we look at the trade lines, please keep in mind that this information comes from companies just like yours. The business reports list trade lines by business category. So you're not actually going to see the name of the company that's reporting the data, but you will see in which industry they participate. It's also important to note that when you see more than one trade line reported with the same business category, these represent different vendors. So here we see there's a number of construction machinery vendors reporting and 2 different equipment vendors reporting, etc. The next column provides the month and the year that the data was reported. Oftentimes, we also show the date of last sale, payment terms, the recent high credit, and the recent high credit is the highest dollar amount reported by the vendor over a 12-month period. The balance, you'll notice, is rounded to the nearest $100. And then the dollars in the aging columns are represented by a percent of the balance. So for instance, with this construction machinery trade line, the recent high credit was $59,800. The balance, as of when this information was reported, is $11,200. And of this $11,200, 16% is current, 75% of $11,200 is 1 to 30 days past due, and 9% is 31 to 60 days past due. Which, that's not the best, but it's not the worst. Keep in mind, they started out with about a $60,000 recent high credit. They've paid it down to $11,200, and this is where the dollars currently are. Any questions about the trade payment information? Oh, and the comment code section, This can show things such as excellent account or write-off and everything in between. The inquiries are going to show 9 months, the business category who inquired on the business, and the month that they inquired. This information is helpful to know whether or not the company is actively seeking new credit vendors. And it also shows that a lot of people use our products. The UCCs come next, and this represents the Uniform Commercial Code. And this allows creditors to notify others about assets used as collateral for secured transactions. I was tempted to put in a poll question here to find out how many attendees use the UCC system to secure assets, but maybe we can just show a thumbs up if you care to do that. The company background information includes corporate registration information as reported by the Secretary of State and can also include additional background information. There's also corporate linkage. And in the top center, this is what you'll see actually in the full detail reports, which consist of the business profile and the premier profile. So in the report themselves, it's going to be limited to the headquarters and branch locations due to space requirements. But the full family tree, which can be extensive, is found in the Business IQ web platform. And this is the platform where credit reports are pulled. And we navigate to the corporate linkage by using this linkage tab. Feel free to call with any questions regarding features built into Business IQ, because some of the navigation, it can be helpful to have someone guide you. The next topic, which is near and dear to my heart, is data contribution. And this is when you report your accounts. I consider data contribution as a customer service. We report our accounts, which helps to build and enhance our client's credit file. I'm happy to provide additional details and assist with your data contribution project when you're ready. When reporting trade accounts, this is the information that's necessary as it would appear in Excel. The record layout, which is the order in which each data field appears, is really not important as long as the necessary data fields are present. It's also important that the record layout remains consistent over time, every time you upload the information. The top row here shows what's necessary to correctly match your data to the correct credit report and also ensure that trade lines are refreshed accurately over time. We need the customer number, the business name and address, the payment terms, and while it's not required, I always recommend reporting the date of last sale, but sometimes it's a data field that's not easy to get to. To report the balance and aging is the information in the next column. So we need the credit limit, the balance, and then the aging, how many dollars are current, 1 to 30 days past due, etc. So with the services, Experian intends to provide an objective credit report product. When reporting accounts, it's important to include all open accounts, which includes the goods, the bads, and even the zero balance accounts. Objective also means that there is no self-reported information in the Experian system. So why are zero balance accounts important? Well, let's say last month you reported a customer's balance of $1,000. Your customer paid the full amount and now has a zero balance. Well, if the zero balance is not reported, the prior month's information will continue to appear along with the prior month's date. This limits accuracy and makes the information look stale. Whoops, we'll go back here for another poll question. So I wonder how many have thought about reporting your customers. And if you have thought about it, do you see data contribution as a customer service to build and enhance your customer's credit file, or a way to gain collection leverage? While we're tabulating the answers, there is no direct cost to reporting your information. Only your initial time to develop the process, and then the time it takes monthly to upload the files. It's very quick and a nice addition to the month-end close. How about that? So I feel that it's helpful, and my customers are fantastic. They all pay on time, which maybe that's an anomaly, but yeah, gaining collection leverage, that's a very strong reason to report information, because of course, if they pay late, it shows up. And when companies know that you're reporting their information, chances are, even if there's a cash flow issue, if they know you're reporting, they're going to prioritize payments to you rather than someone who does not report. So yes, I applaud those answers. The next product is the Premier Profile Report. And this is also in full detail, just like the business profile, with the addition of many unique elements. So today we're just going to look at the unique elements, and in the back of your mind, keep in mind the full detail layout of the business profile. In identifying information, you'll see a verified business name when the business name on the credit report matches to the legal entity name as reported by the Secretary of State. This is good verification and lets you know that that we've got our ducks in a row and everything's matching up. The DBA name has also been added along with the business website. And there's a tree indicator that indicates whether there's public record, I'm sorry, corporate record information showing up in the file. This, you'll also see throughout the reports, there's a number of links. And by clicking here, this would take you directly to the corporate linkage section of the report. You'll also notice there's a view map, and this is also a link. And it leads to the Google Street View. Sometimes the Google Street View is not available, and so you will see other maps, street maps, as well as satellite imagery, and that allows you to take a look at your applicant's operations. You know, do they have a lot of trucks in the lot? Do they have? Well, I think you get the picture. The next item that's unique is the risk dashboard. So we are including the IntelliScore Plus score, which, as you know, it's a payment score. And we add another score, this financial stability risk score. This is predicting the likelihood of either bankruptcy, closure, or severe financial stress over the next 12 months. The days beyond terms, original derogatory legal filings, and then high risk alerts. And we'll look at this section in a little bit more detail in a couple of different slides. There's also a credit limit recommendation. And the credit limit recommendation is based on the industry, trade payment, age of the business, the company size, and the IntelliScore Plus score. So Experian takes this information and adds it into a proprietary process and comes up with a credit limit recommendation. The business facts section can include unique data elements such as an enhanced business description. Under the business type, it'll show whether it's for-profit or not-for-profit. We'll list up to 10 contacts, although this example only shows 3. The NAICS codes have also been added, and this stands for the North American Industrial Classification System, and it's an updated version of the SIC code system. There is also a public company indicator, so if they're publicly traded, you'll see a yes. We also show on which stock exchange they trade, as well as their symbol. The Fortune 1000 rankings are also listed when it's publicly traded. So this is the area that corresponds to the fraud alerts in the risk dashboard. The Commercial Fraud Shield provides fraud alerts, including an active business indicator, possible OFAC name or address matches. If a business victim statement exists, and this is, let's say your company has been victim of identity theft or fraud, you can certainly communicate that to Experian, and that will show as a yes. That's not a red mark on your credit file or your credit history. It's a indication to other creditors for them to use extra caution if they receive a credit application from you, and just to be more cautious about opening an account, because it could be a fraudulent credit application. In the verification triggers, we're looking for inconsistencies between the business name, address, and tax ID number. So details can include that the address is vacant or residential or known to be a high-risk address. And this is the area that corresponds, again, with the risk dashboard. So let's look just a little bit more at the 2 score models. So inside the report, you're going to see the IntelliScore represented, as well as the FSR score. I found it interesting that, according to the Small Business Administration, of the 600,000 business deaths each year, only 10% file for bankruptcy. The remainder are simply going to close their doors. So using 2 scores helps to distinguish between potential slow pay versus a business closure, which is more than likely a write-off. So the Premier Profile Report includes both scores. They're both represented by these charts with key determining risk factors and quarterly score trends. The remainder of the business profile mirrors, the remainder of the Premier Profile mirrors the business profile. So let's move on, unless there's questions, let's move on to the regulated information. The Fair Credit Reporting Act is the primary body of regulation concerned with credit information on individuals, and this does include business owners or guarantors of commercial accounts. There are 2 regulated products available through the service, and access to the owner information can be vital for approving applications from either newly formed businesses, small businesses, and in many other cases. Access to the regulated products may be added to your account through a compliance step known as a site inspection. The cost is minimal, and we're happy to provide all the details. The first regulated product we're going to look at is the blended IntelliScore Plus. Blended refers to the product consisting of 2 different types of information, business and regulated. The score model is also blended, delivering a payment score based on the business and up to 2 owners, or guarantors. In the identifying information, we notice that the business name is Blended Blueberries, just to have some fun. And the owner is Michael Testcase. The scoring section of the blended product provides the same format that you saw with the business-only product. And the business information section appearing just below is the same information that you received with the business-only product. The owner guarantor section appears just below and provides account information, including number of bank cards, the balance to limit ratio of the bank cards, the number of revolving accounts, the available revolving credits, any delinquent automotive or real estate trade lines, and then of course the number of inquiries. The column to the right is going to list the oldest account, the number of satisfactory accounts over the prior 24 months, delinquent accounts over the past 6 months, the number of collection and legal and derogatory accounts, derogatory public records filed within the past 24 months, and then derogatory public records greater than $250. This is a very innovative and valuable product. I would use it at every opportunity that I have a small business that comes in, or even a medium business, where there is an owner or multiple guarantors, and this provides just a wealth of information for a very reasonable value price. The next product is full detail, and it's called the business owner profile. The business owner profile is full detail, and it provides identifying information with a couple of interesting twists. We're going to provide the name, the home address, and 2 prior addresses, along with the current and prior employer. The executive summary section provides a score with key determining risk factors, trade payment status, and delinquency detail. To the right, you'll see additional information, which is helpful from an analytical standpoint. The full detail section, it starts with a consumer statement. And as you know, you can dispute anything you'd like to within your consumer report. Legal filings, judgments, inquiries, and then the trade information. And this example throws a curveball due to the accounts being discharged through bankruptcy. However, the trade lines include the vendor name, account type, date that the account was opened, the status, whether it's opened or closed, the current balance, the historical high balance, monthly payment amount, date of the last payment, amount past due, the relationship, whether it's individual or a joint account, vendor comments, and 24-month payment history. So this will show over time, how has this trade line been paid? There's a number of boxes and letters and numbers that give you this information. And by clicking in this area right here, a legend will pop up to help you interpret all this information. Unless there's questions, this brings us to our last poll question. Would you be interested in adding access to the regulated products if the site inspection cost was, would you add access if the cost was $150 or $100 or $75? Adding the regulated information to your account opens up a number of possibilities and will actually allow you to approve more accounts. Sometimes this information is necessary when either there's small business, new business, or maybe if the dollar amount is so large that you actually require a personal guarantee. Well, people were actually paying attention because I mentioned that the site inspection is a low expense. It's actually less than $75, and it's certainly something that, unless you're a nightclub or something along those lines, chances are extremely high that the process will be completed and we'll be able to provide this access. Well, today we've introduced a number of topics, and we've primarily just scratched the surface. So if you're interested in learning more about any of the topics today, either the inquiry process, the scoring models, data contribution, or if you've never seen the services and you're interested in a live demonstration, I would appreciate it. It's your invitation to contact me directly, and we'll spend time one-on-one. If there are no questions, I would like to turn controls back over to Shannon.
All right, thanks, Chuck, for that great information. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We'll get this sent back out in an email follow-up with Chuck's slide presentation and a video recording within about the next 48 hours or so. So thanks again, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're certainly welcome.